Okay, so we've downloaded our CSV, right? I've just re-uploaded it here to Google Spreadsheets because I like it better. And so let's get started. So again, the idea here, right, is that we're creating a new site. We're taking a look at how users are searching for things, right? And we're going to try and bucket those types of intent into different categories. And it'll help us better logically lay out our site and get better understanding of what people are looking for and how they're looking for it, right? So we'll just rename the spreadsheet app development company keyword blueprint, something like that. And so these are all of the default columns that you get initially, right? So add group keyword, keyword type, currency, segmentation, average monthly searches, competition, suggested bid, and impression share. So this is the ad group that we had called it, right? I'll delete that column. Keyword type, again, this is a setting designed for paid search. It's unnecessary when we're doing stuff for SEO, so you can delete that. The currency that it's in, again, a paid search concept that we don't need. Segmentation, so this is device segmentation. For now, we're looking at everything. We can delete this column. Average monthly searches is very important. We'll leave that. Competition, suggested bid, and impression share are not. So again, we'll delete these. So again, only keywords and the average monthly searches. That's really the only things we need right now. So delete these rows. Just make that a little cleaner. And so what we have here is basically a first look at what our potential market might be, right? So I'll just set these filters and I'll sort, and I have kind of the most valuable keyword up at the top and then the monthly searches right next to it. So I'll just kind of start bucketing them very broadly, right? So I have Android app development here. Maybe I'll call this Android broad Android keyword, something like that. 27,000 times per month. And again, the settings we'd set here were for global and all languages. iPhone app development over here, right? Maybe I'll call this broad iPhone, something like that. Android apps development, 5400. That's a good one. iPhone application development, 4400. So here's the next one, developers Android. So, you really need to think through the searcher intent here. What is the person looking for? Is this someone looking for an Android developer and wants to hire them? I don't know. Is this someone who wants to become an Android developer? I'm not sure. A lot of the times, if you don't know, I like to just take the keyword and just do a Google search, right? So, developers Android, Android developers, Android developers on YouTube, Google Play Developer Console. So, you need to think through this, right? This is a keyword. It's very valuable. It initially feels like it could be good for us. When you take a look, right, it's very competitive. It looks like a lot of the intent is for Android. You have some people bidding on paid search for it. Could we get a page ranking for this? I'm not really sure. I'm going to skip this one for now. I don't like it. Android app developer, right? So I think that's a good fit. We could add that in there. iPhone app developer. iPhone apps development. I'll add that here. iPhone app developers. iPhone application development company. Now, in this particular situation, I really like queries that have the word company in it. The intent is very commercial. You're not typing iPhone application development company unless you're looking for a company. And my bias is that this is someone who's looking to outsource iPhone app development, very much our market. Let's just take a quick look and see. So we have what looks like a number of different companies that are jockeying for this keyword. Whether or not it's competitive, it definitely looks like a good match to what we're trying to do, right? I'm going to bucket this in a new bucket. iPhone app company type keywords, and maybe we'll get a couple more going there. Android app development company, same concept, right? Something like that. Maybe Android app company. Android application developer, that's probably broad one. Android applications development. So this is another one, right? Like, now that I think about it, we could add this initially, but the difference, while seemingly subtle, might not be, right? Android applications development versus Android application developer. This feels like someone who's interested in learning about app development or essentially wants to learn how to program. Building your first app, Android developers. Getting started, Android developers. So this feels wrong. Android application developer might be closer to what we're looking for. Maybe not. Android app developers. Yeah, this one feels a little bit closer. Hire Android developers. So again, this concept of searcher intent is incredibly important. Android apps development might be people looking to get into how to design their own apps, right? Essentially learning how to create programs on Android. An Android app developer might be someone looking for a developer. This one, no. But yeah, these. So this is really good insight, right? So I'm going to make a new bucket for developer keywords. And I'm going to throw these in here. And development is probably a lost cause. I'll leave them up there for now, but it's probably a lost cause. We can do the same thing with iPhone. So we'll grab the developer keywords. And again, development's probably a lost cause. We'll leave those up there. So again, a little bit more art than science. I mean, you do need to do this a few times to get the hang of it. But the general idea and the mistake people make is they look essentially at the volume and they say, wow, 27,000 people search for this every month. I want to get number one for it. And it's not the right way to do it if it's not closely matching your intent. Android app developers, we're over here. iOS app developer, we're over here. Make iPhone app. So again, this is probably people interested in actually learning how to program. Looks like it. Yep. So we'll bail on these. iOS app developers. Build iPhone app, probably not what we're looking for. How many more do we have here? A couple more, we'll just move these up real quick. iPhone application developer. Developing iPhone apps, again, probably someone interested in learning how to. Android apps developer. Develop iPhone apps, we can bail on these, we can bail on these. Android application developers. iPhone apps developer. Develop apps for iPhone? Nope. iPhone apps developer. Apple iPhone app development. Again, we're staying away from development. We can leave it up here for now, but we'll probably bail on these. Develop iPhone application, write iPhone apps, iPhone app programmers. That one might be okay. So we just ran through these, right? And again, we can continue to go back to the tool if we want. So for example, if we really liked Android App Development Company, we can take this, we could go back to the tool, right? We could, even if we wanted to, we could delete this. And whoops, let's say we want to modify our search. And let's just do Android App Development Company, hire app development company, hire Android developers, hire iPhone developers. And you also want to use the insight that you've already learned, right, from these things. We really like the word company. Maybe we want to add the word hire, and we want to stick with developer over development. And we'll plug these back in, and we'll keep going. And that's kind of how the general process works. You can use this keyword research to kind of set the structure for search intent buckets on your site. All right, so we did a little bit more keyword research here and a little bit more bucketing, and I kind of went through that whole process. And here's the final result. So we have a number of different buckets here based on what we originally input, and let's walk through them right now. So I created one called generic developer, right? That's just kind of someone looking for app developers in general. We really don't know the platform yet, right? Android or iOS. We have Android developer up here, pretty straightforward. iPhone developer as well, and again, all of the monthly volume here. Moving down now, we're with the companies keyword. Again, I really like that companies phrase, that companies word in the query, because it really signifies there's a commercial intent there. App development companies, mobile app development companies. This is different from Android development companies and iPhone app development companies. So kind of an interesting distinction there. Another valuable bucket, again, from a commercial perspective, Android app developer does seem good for us, but even better, hire Android app developer, right? So this concept of hire in this bucket and companies in this bucket, it's really the same thing. It's kind of signaling, hey, I have commercial intent. I'm looking to pay someone to do my app development, right? So hire Android and hire iPhone developer. The thing I want to point out here is you start to notice how people search for things. Developer is pretty common, but another concept, although small, programmers, right? You see over here as well, there's mobile application development companies, but there's also services. So just think about that and think about how your users are going to search for things. We have programmer here as well. We have Google Android app developer. So the way that people looking for these type of services might be different than the way people in the industry talk about them. Last but not least, you don't always have to do keyword research for commercial intent. It can also inspire content ideas, right? So this concept of app development costs. These are people that are probably higher in the funnel, right? They may not be ready to outsource their app development just yet, but they're doing their research. What a good opportunity for a blog post, right? Something, the cost of developing an app, right? Creating some type of content around that. So now that we've done this, we can use this to kind of dictate how some of the content on our site might look. So if we wanted to create a page related to generic developer, right? Maybe we might call it slash mobile app developers. If we had a page dedicated to this kind of bucket of keywords, maybe we would call it slash Android app developers. And iPhone would probably be the same thing, right? Slash iPhone app developers. Now, the way you want to do this, right? Like once you've bucketed your keywords, you want to pick a phrase that's kind of all-encompassing, kind of covers everything, but doesn't sound too spammy, right? Like the wrong way to do this would be slash app developer, app developers, mobile app, mobile app developers, apps developer, right? I mean, that would just be absolutely ridiculous. And some people do this. This one looks a little absurd. But let's look at like one that someone might actually reasonably do that seems weird, like for this one, right? If we called this slash app development cost iPhone app development cost, Android app development cost. That might be a little ridiculous too, actually, now that I look at it. But like, you don't want to try and jam all of the keywords into your URL structure. You just want to make a reasonable page based on those buckets, right? So let's just keep rolling here a little bit. Generic app companies here. Right, maybe this would be mobile app development company. Hire Android developer slash, this might be hire Android developer, or maybe Android app developer for hire, maybe something like that. Kind of encompasses it all. Could do the same thing over here. Let's call that iPhone. And so this particular example of bucketing keywords, we might be overdoing it here. Right, Android app developers and hire Android app developers, or Android app developer for hire. It might be too much overlapping content. Perhaps we could bucket all these. This particular set of keywords might be a little different. The broader concept to understand here is that you should be bucketing families of keywords based on intent, and then writing a clean URL structure that encompasses some of the more important phrases. I'll just do another one here. So slash maybe app development cost, or this could be mobile app, maybe mobile app development cost. You can play around with a couple and pick one. I like that one a little better. Same thing here, right? Android app development company. Our families are all probably a little too closely related. You probably wouldn't end up making a single one of these pages for all of these. We might combine some of the families. iPhone app development company. So again, this particular example, right, maybe these families are a little too close. We'd combine a couple of them. But this is the general idea. And now that we've done this, we can create our site structure.